Okay, so yesterday when you guys were looking at your naming, the two things that we didn't cover are line segments and rays. So as we're looking at these two definitions, I want to ask you, do you think those are matched up correctly? So from what you already know, does a line segment mean that it's a part of a line that has only one endpoint and extends infinitely in one direction? Or is that definition belong with a ray? And if you think about a ray, that actually is going to be flip-flopped. And so as you guys are looking at this, I'm actually going to go ahead and move these so you can copy these down or at least look at these. A line segment is a measurable part of a line consisting of two endpoints, and we're going to draw a picture of that, and we're going to talk about how you name that. Same thing with a ray. A ray does go infinitely in one direction, but it does have one endpoint as well. So as we're looking at our definitions, the way that we're going to look at these pictures directly correlates. So a line segment is just going to be something like this. It has the two endpoints, it has those two endpoints labeled, and then the ray only has one endpoint, and it goes on forever in one direction. And I'm going to label those, and so that way we can talk about how you go about naming these two figures. So the line segment, you're going to use only 2 points to name the line segment. So in this case, you're using that A and the B. You can use it in any order, so you can do AB or BA. The key is you're still using those capital letters, and then you're also going to use the symbol up above that's just a dash. Notice you don't have any endpoints on that dash, you don't have anything like that, it's just the dash over the top. The ray is a little bit more difficult to name. One of the things you always have to recognize is that the first letter that you're naming is the endpoint. So you're going to have the D, and then it goes through C. Again, you're only using 2 letters. So even if another letter was thrown in here, you wouldn't have to use that A. You could name that ray DA, but again, you're only using 2 letters. Notice that this direction, this arrow always points to the right. Okay, always, always, always. Doesn't matter what's going on in your picture. So your picture could be going to the left, could be going to the right, could be going up, could be down, but this symbol always points to the right. And again, this endpoint is always the first letter of that ray. So as you guys are looking at some examples, I'm just going to do a couple brief examples. When you're looking at this question, it says name all of the segments in the figure. Well, you have the 2 small segments. You've got segment DE. You also have segment EF. And then obviously you have the big segment all the way across from D to F. And so those are all the segments. Now, keep in mind, you could name any of those segments in the opposite order. You're not naming a new segment, you're just giving the same segment a different name. So it'd be like if I had somebody in class who is named William, but that person goes by Will or William. It's a different name, but it's still the same person. So the same idea. I could name that first segment ED, I could name that second segment FE, and so on and so forth. When we're talking about the rays in the figure, we're going to start with the ray starting at D going to the right. So again, I'm going to name that either DE or DF. It's the same name, or excuse me, it's the same ray, just different name. I can do the ray going to the right from E. So again, I'm going to start at E, going through F. And then I can also go to the left. So I can start at F and go left. So I can use F, and then I can use either E or D for that second point. And then I've got the ray starting at E going through D. So as you guys are looking at these, again, rays, you have to name that first letter has to be the endpoint. So just a couple quick questions to consider. How many lines are there in the previous picture? And so what that's referencing is when we look back at that previous example, how many lines are there? Again, you can have multiple names for the same line. So I could use DE, I could use EF, I could use FD, it doesn't matter. I'd be naming that line with 2 points, but there's only one line in its entirety. So there's only one line there. What's the difference between ray AB and ray BA? So let's take a look. I'm going to draw a picture of a line that has A and B labeled. Ray BA and ray AB are different because AB starts at A and goes through B, whereas VA, excuse me, I tried to do that in blue. I don't know why I didn't go, but it starts at B and goes through, there we go, through A. So this one up here includes points going to the right that the ray BA does not. Ray BA includes points to the left that ray AB does not. There are 2 points, there's exactly one line. How many points are there on a line? Well, even though 2 points name the line, I don't know why that changed colors in the middle, there's an infinite number of points. So there's points all through here because those points are infinitely small. Okay, so even though there's 2 points that we use to name it, on the line itself, there's an infinite number of points. Notice this next question. If 2 lines intersect, their intersection is a point. And then the next piece, if 2 planes intersect, their intersection is a line. So what I did is I went ahead and I drew a picture to just look at this. The question is, why is it not a segment? So if we look, we have 2 planes that intersect right now, and it looks like that intersection is a line segment. But what we have to remember is that plane goes on forever, and if those planes go on forever, their intersections go on forever as well, making that intersection a line. So just a couple quick things to consider. Wanted to recap some things that we've talked about already, but also wanted to introduce how to name those rays and those line segments.